Oh, you can't hear me. I was muted. Well, welcome back. Yeah, we botched that open, didn't we? All right. Okay, go back to the frog. We'll start over. Okay, go back to the frog. Okay. Welcome back to the Raw Feed. I'm Gary Franchi, coming to you live from just outside of Chicago, streaming to millions worldwide on YouTube and simultaneously broadcasting on Rumble and X. This is week 20 of Donald Trump's historic return to the White House, and what a week it's turning out to be. You know what sets us apart from every other news show? That's you, because we're reading your comments in real time, getting reactions as the news breaks. So fire up those keyboards and let's hear what you think. And hey, share the stream right now via text message to bypass big tech's algorithm. For our ex-viewers, repost the show to your followers. Let's break through the censorship wall together. And speaking of breaking through, we're going to be reading your super chats and rumble rants between segments and featuring them on screen for the world to see. So send them in right now before we dive into today's explosive topics. Whoa! We got to work on those hand gestures. This camera is so sensitive. So if I do this, is that what it does? Does it zoom out? Like this? Hand gesture? What did it do? Zoom out. Zoom in here. Zoom in. Oh, hey! Okay, that's not what we wanted. Okay. All right. We're still getting a hang of this new AI camera, so just bear with us. So, yes, your voice matters here. And now let me take you back to a moment in history that echoes what we're witnessing today, besides AI camera tricks. On June 10th, 1963, President Kennedy federalized the Alabama National Guard to enforce federal law against a defiant governor. Sound familiar? Because today we're watching history repeat as President Trump deploys military forces to restore order in California while Governor Newsom plays politics with people's lives. And that brings us to today's first topic from the Oval Office, because Trump's cabinet just dropped a bombshell strategy to save America from both natural and political disasters. We've got exclusive footage of their plan to revolutionize wildfire prevention and restore American sovereignty. And if you want to support this program privately, you can hit the donation links in the description. Every dollar helps us stay on the air, bringing you the unfiltered truth. But wait, it gets better. Los Angeles is literally burning while Democrats claim it's peaceful. We've got the shocking footage the mainstream media will not show you: violent mobs attacking our law enforcement while politicians like Maxine Waters gaslight America. And of course, our merch shop is on fire as well at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com, loaded with gear to show the world where you get your news. You can rock that Next News pride. Topic 3 exposes the ultimate showdown: Donald Trump versus Gavin Newsom. We've got the call logs proving that Newsom lied about Trump's outreach. This California governor is about to learn what happens when you defy federal law. Then prepare for the military transformation that is shaking Washington to its core. President Trump at Fort Bragg today, Hegseth in Congress, DEI is dead, Merritt is back, and Democrats are literally screaming. We've got footage of the president connecting military strength to Homeland Security while promising to jail flag burners and liberate Los Angeles. And for those who want insider access to the Next News Network, you can join our YouTube channel memberships. Each channel unlocks exclusive perks, special chat room acknowledgement, behind-the-scenes content, especially with our upcoming NATO trip. You want to get all that content. And you will have access to the Next News team and access to our members-only 24/7 Discord server. Finally, we're tracking nationwide unrest as the anti-Trump protests are erupting from coast to coast. It is a trap indeed. A trap that is being laid for President Trump as the midterms approach. Yes, the Democrats want every single network to be screaming it's Trump's fault. That is what you can expect in the next few weeks as city after city goes up in flames and President Trump deploys the National Guard and the Marines into the streets to stop the madness. Yes, they're going to say it's all Donald Trump's fault. He's sending in the Marines. He's sending in the National Guard. So we need to point the finger at him, blame him. He's the one fanning the flames. But no one's taking a look at the man behind the curtain who's funding all of this unrest. Yeah, where's all that dark money coming from? It's because the establishment's in panic mode right now, because they know Donald Trump is being effective, and they need to try everything they can to take the House in the midterms. And if they can create enough chaos and point the fingers and let the airwaves scream and shout that it's all Trump's fault, maybe they can take back the House. And then what happens? Impeachment 3.0, right? Get ready. Get ready for the endless committees dragging all of President Trump's administration before the House, making more headlines and making life hell for the Trump administration. So we're going to be tracking all this. So make sure you're following us on all platforms, YouTube, Rumble, and X. The censors are working overtime, so spread your viewing across platforms to ensure you never miss a show. This is Trump's America now, where law and order actually means something. Yes, no auto pens signing executive orders, where our military serves with pride and where violent mobs don't get to terrorize our cities. The gloves are off, the truth is out, and the establishment is absolutely terrified. So buckle up, Patriots. Today's Raw Feed is going to blow your mind. So keep the comments coming, keep those super chats flowing, and most importantly, keep on watching. We're going to dive into the news that matters, the news they don't want you to see, the news that changes everything. This is the Raw Feed on the Next News Network, and we are just getting started. Now, you know what we do. We welcome you to the show. Karen Finley in the house, Jeremy Olson, Scon Tech, Patricia Duff. The gang is filing in. Karen Brown. Cindy is here from Buffalo on the iPhone. What is up, Cindy? Lori is here. Much love to you, Gary, and everyone here from Western New York. Our Boyd in the house. He'll be right back. We got Susan. I think everybody's done with these fiery, peaceful riots. I think so, too. But they do serve to make wonderful headlines for CNN and MSNBC when they need to paint Trump as the bad guy. Randall Goss is here. If he stands down, they'll blame him for standing down. He needs to invoke martial law right before the midterms. That would be, I don't know. Maybe that's a trap. Maybe that is the trap. They want him to invoke martial law. They want him to continue to nationalize the reserves, to send in the Marines, so then they can say, look, he is an authoritarian, he is a dictator, he is destroying democracy. See, we were right. But never pointing out the fact that they are the ones throwing the match, starting the fires themselves. Then if he stands down, they'll blame him for standing down. He needs to invoke martial law before the midterms. That's what Randall has to say. Lynn is here from Louisiana. Tony's like, I voted for this. Jeremy Olson, John Doe, it's not going to happen. Then they will, New York, then they will all need guards. D. Nice in the house, a tree of liberty may need to be watered. LaWalker, Soros, Pelosi, Clintons, to name a few. Blue Jay is here. Curio 23 in the house. Christina Gavlik, Newsom ought to know better than the lie with President Trump. He's playing 5D chess, and the rest of them are playing checkers. They lose. Watership, Chinese spy caught with bioweapons. This is a diversion and an insurrection, too. I did see that headline. More bioweapons that were captured coming in from Wuhan, of all places. I don't want to hear that frickin' city's name anymore in my life, okay? I really don't. Luna Chick is here. Dwayne Putnam. That's supposed to be arrest Gavin Newsom for dereliction of duty. John Dale Gavin got caught hiring paid protesters, likely from the Rebuild LA Fire Funds. And Curio 23, dropping $4.99. Name some friends that always go out to eat with you. Your taste buds. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness, man. Does this guy know how to throw a wrench in the works? But we'll take your 5. We appreciate you, my friend. We appreciate you, Curio. Let's see. collecting cats. Great news. U.S. Code says naturalized citizens can have their citizenship revoked for participating in insurrection or rebellion. No statute of limitations. Oh, well, that's interesting. Paid protesters, paper trail. Yes, we need to find that paper trail. Are there other super chats to speak of here? Bobby just became a member. What's up, Bobby? Welcome to the family. And Susan, she dropped $1.99. She says, makes speed bumps great again. Yep, that's what happens sometimes, unfortunately. Sandra Rivas just dropped $5. Thank you, Sandra, for that. We'll put that $5 in the jar where it belongs with the rest. We're going to fill up this jar tonight because you guys want that jar filled up. We're going to will it into existence. Okay, what else is going on? Let me see who else is here. Patriots from New York, Sean Gunk, Tony Bicott, Walmart. Cody, I came from Agenda Free TV's live stream. Thank you, Cody, for stopping by. We got Larry Major here, Michael Verostro from Pennsylvania, Kathy Hart from Oklahoma. Love your show. Thank you, Kathy. Freeman Pennington, the Democrats are ensuring their own destruction, and that's good enough for me. Well, see, here's the thing. The Democrats are ensuring their own destruction. Well, they're planning the whole thing. The whole thing is premeditated. And I believe it's all designed so that they can basically, I don't want to say bait Trump, but trigger Trump into quelling these rebellions, quelling these protests with the full force of the federal government. So it's not necessarily their own destruction because the media is going to run cover for them. The media is going to, again, blame Trump for all of this is happening. And it's shows like this that we exist to set the record straight. Mickey Mouse owned ABC News correspondent Terry Moran has been fired. Terry Moran. I'd have to see a picture of him. There's so many correspondents. Terry Moran. Todd, maybe you can send me a picture of the guy. Love your show, Gary Chicago, and to Kent Welch. I got a message also earlier that one of our friends, Terry Newsom, was headed down to Chicago for the protests. Going to blend in with Antifa. Terry Newsom runs his own show called Behind Enemy Lines, and tonight he's literally behind enemy lines. We should probably check in on his X feed, see what he's posting. And then Tom, our White House correspondent, called me before the show and said that Chicago is just lighting up right now. He said, I haven't even checked. I'm just going by what he said. He said that there's shooting going on between protesters and guards, and now Michael's calling me here on the other line. Doesn't he know I'm live, Michael? I'm live. I do know this guy. What am I looking for? Oh, really? They fired him, huh? No kidding. Okay, so here is who they just fired. Bring that up real quick. And where's Michael? Michael just texted me. Michael, I'm live. Come on, dude. Don't you get the notifications? Of course you didn't get the notifications. Michael, I'm live. I'm live right now. Dude, how many inmates were released during or day before the protests outside the jails? I don't know, but that's a great question. Okay, so Terry Moran is out. Bye-bye. 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 Okay. Okay, let's see what else. Come on now. All right. Okay, we got news to get into, and then we'll check on the messages. I think, was there another super chat that came through? Checking in here. Oh, my. Okay, and Goat Biscuit dropped $5. One day we will get the Gary Franchi, Alex Jones meetup. Keep up the support, guys. Yeah, maybe one day we'll have Alex. I want to bring Alex to the White House, personally. Mike's son dropping $2, and he says there is no war in Ba Sing Se. Did I say a naughty word? I don't know. I said a bunch of words you put on the screen. And I hope I didn't. I don't know what I just said. Okay, there's $2 for that. All right, we got to get this show started. And Michael, I'm live, dude. Okay. Oh, we have our trivia question. How can I forget? Yes, trivia question. My bad. Here it is. Which president first used federal troops to enforce environmental conservation policies against state opposition? Was it Theodore Roosevelt in 1905, Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1933, Dwight D. Eisenhower in 1957, or Richard Nixon in 1970? I'm going to go with wait, how come this trivia question doesn't line up with the question I just read? Yeah, that does not line up. This question we're looking for is, which president first used federal troops to enforce environmental conservation policies against state opposition? I think I'm going to go with Theodore Roosevelt. He was a big conservationist, and I believe he is one of the reasons why we have a lot of national parks, if I'm correct. So I'm going to go with A. We're going to get the answer to that. And you guys are already saying A as well, so I think we're on the same page. Oh, yes. Carter Benson Jr. celebrating. Terry Moran is out. Oh, boo-hoo. Boo-hoo. All right. There you go. Bye, Terry Moran. Michael, I'm live. Hello. Video capturing the protectors outside of LA County Jail, one of the violent jails we have in America. Okay. Brian, did you get the right message up on screen? Did we do that? Okay, well, too late for that. Okay, just look at the poll question. You guys can answer that there, and then we'll get to the answer after this. America's forests are burning, hurricanes are coming, and your tax dollars are being torched faster than California timber. But behind closed doors in the Oval Office today, Trump's cabinet just unveiled a radical plan that flips the script on disaster management. They're not just fighting fires, they are preventing them. They're not just responding to hurricanes, they're putting power back into the state's hands. And they're doing it while slashing government waste and reviving dead American industries. What you're about to see is going to shock you. It's not about climate change nonsense. It's about common sense, American jobs, and saving billions. It's exactly what the swamp hates, but the states love. So keep watching. We're going to break it all down. Now, here is the hard truth, though. Every 6 years, your dollar loses half its buying power. That means a $100,000 savings account today could feel like $50,000 by 2031. You sneeze in the middle of you read. You see it every time you fill up your tank, you buy groceries or pay bills, prices up, dollars down, but there's a simple way to protect your savings with something real, something proven. That's gold, an asset that holds value over time. That's why I trust Noble Gold Investments. They make it simple to protect your savings with physical gold or silver. No high-pressure sales, no call centers, just honest guidance, one-on-one support, and transparent pricing. And right now, when you open a qualified account, Noble Gold will send you a free 10-ounce silver American flag bar. So head to nextnewsgold.com. That's nextnewsgold.com. Or call that number 877-646-5347. Don't just protect your wealth, preserve its power. And when you talk to them there, tell Colin that Gary said hello. All right. Now, from the Oval Office, President Trump's cabinet just delivered a masterclass in America First governance. While Democrats continue pushing their climate hysteria, Trump's team is implementing real solutions that protect lives and save taxpayer dollars. I'm going to show you now Secretary Rollins laying out exactly how prepared we are for what's coming. This is not bureaucratic double talk. This is decisive action from leaders who understand the stakes. Watch.
Sir, and then Secretary Burgum. First of all, thank you, Mr. President, for inviting us here to the White House to provide an update on our coordinated efforts across your federal government to ensure our nation's wildland firefighting system is focused on fighting wildfires quickly and effectively. Sir, you have made it clear from the beginning that strong leadership and decisive action and the protection of American lives and communities are the top priorities for both Secretary Burgum and for me this fire season. As you can see from the red areas on the map over here on the president's left, this is going to be an above normal fire season, which is why we wanted to, sir, ensure that we were taking direction from you and moving forward. This means that a higher likelihood of large and intense wildfires than typically expected for this time of year for the next few months. This means that people, homes, communities, and landscapes are at risk, and the need for firefighters and fire support personnel is clear. America has the largest and the most well-respected wildland firefighting force in the world. Secretary Burgum and I already have given direction to our firefighting organizations to take whatever actions are necessary to ensure that we are operationally ready.
And I hope you're operationally ready for when Antifa decides to set some fires too.
The Department of Interior and the Department of Agriculture employ over 17,000 federal wildland firefighters every year. At the peak of fire capacity, our surge with their interagency, tribal, state, local, will have approximately 13,000 additional wildfire personnel. We know that the best and most cost-effective way to stop these terrible fires is to remove the fuel load that feeds them.
America has the world's best wildland firefighters, and now they have the leadership, finally, to match. No more waiting for disasters to strike while fuel loads build up in our forests. But here's where it gets really interesting. Secretary Burgum just exposed the dirty secrets that Democrats don't want you to know. We've been importing timber while letting our own forests burn. Watch him connect the dots between forest management and American jobs. Go.
Well, happy to do that. And of course, as President Trump had said, yes, between Interior and Forest Service, it was just part of USDA, 700 million acres of surface area, much of that is in forest land. That is a tremendous resource. It's part of America's balance sheet. When we let it burn, then we actually have to spend money coming through FEMA and other places. So we spend taxpayer dollars cleaning up a mess that could have been prevented. Under President Trump, when we get back into the timber business, which up to 30 years ago, we were one of the great timber producers in the world. The communities thrived in these rural communities. We had lumber mills, we had manufacturing, we had furniture makers in this country. All of that went away when we stopped harvesting our own timber. And today we import about as much timber as we used to harvest ourselves. If we can get back in the timber business, that can help on the balance of trade, reduce imports from foreign countries, and have American jobs. But to make that all happen, again, under President Trump's leadership, we have to get back in the timber business and get back in the game. And when we do that, we have to make sure that we're doing prevention, not just fighting fires after they all get out of control. And so again, working with OMB and others to make sure that we've got the budget for doing the prevention work and the forest management up front, reduces the expense and the cost on the back end of fighting these massive fires.
That's right. We stopped harvesting our own lumber and destroyed rural communities in the process. Now we're bringing those jobs back while preventing catastrophic fires. Now, the contrast with Biden's FEMA couldn't be starker. Secretary Noem is revolutionizing hurricane response by giving governors the tools they need instead of waiting for Washington bureaucrats. Check out her game-changing approach now.
We are in hurricane season right now. It will last for the next several months, and we are prepared for what is coming. We are anticipating that we will have higher than usual activity during this hurricane season. We could have 3 to 5 major storms, up to a dozen other hurricane level thresholds that we will meet throughout this season. And FEMA stands prepared and has been working with all of our regions on training, pre-deploying resources, making sure that individuals are out there ready to respond to each state as they bring the necessary resources to take care of their people. But also, sir, you've been very clear that you want to see FEMA eliminated as it exists today. So I'm preparing all of these governors that they will have more control over the decisions on how they respond to their communities so that it can help it happen faster, that they can pre-deploy resources and help coordinate on communication as well. So while we are running this hurricane season, making sure that we have pre-staged and worked with the regions that are traditionally hit in these areas, we're also building communication and mutual aid agreements among states to respond to each other so that they can stand on their own 2 feet with the federal government coming in catastrophic circumstances with funding. But
States helping states. Local control. Faster response. This is federalism at its finest. No more top-down disasters from D.C. And unlike the Biden administration that left disaster funds depleted, remember what they were doing? Yeah, they were housing illegals. All that FEMA money. Oh, no, we weren't spending it on hotels, luxury hotels for illegals. Yeah, they were. See, Trump's team has the money ready. Watch. Budget Director Vaught confirm we are financially prepared for whatever nature throws at us. Watch.
And from a funding perspective, the accounts that support the important work that these cabinet secretaries are doing are funded, they're flush. The main one, the Disaster Relief Fund, has $13 billion. It's projected to get us all the way into the end of the fiscal year. So we're in a very good place, and the president has personally been a steward of the taxpayer resources on every one of the expenses that the states have come in for to put us in the position where we are ready for this season.
Ready to go. $13 billion fully funded through the fiscal year. That is what responsible governance looks like. Now, here's the real bombshell. Every dollar spent on prevention saves hundreds in firefighting. Secretary Burgum breaks down the actual economics of common sense that's been missing for decades. Watch.
There's over 700 million acres of surface land that the federal government manages in this country. And under President Trump's orders, we are now actually managing that land. When we get back into timber production as driven by his EO, we're actually then helping rural communities. We're helping people that are in the lumber business, helping bring those lumber products back home. As we stepped away from this industry, President Trump is now bringing it back. And we, as a nation, we're now, before President Trump backing up, we were burning more timber than we were harvesting in this country. When we spend a dollar on prevention, we save hundreds of dollars on the back end on firefighting. This is going to save Americans dollars when we're out there preventing fires and stopping fires when they begin versus letting these fires become huge and then causing the destruction we have. With the growth of our country around urban areas, there's been a 30% growth of what's called the wildlands and urban interface. When this happens, people start building homes, like the tragedy that President Trump visited in California where so many people lost their lives. But this is where we're essentially creating cities in the middle of forests, but not doing the forest management and creating that deadly fire load out of there. But now we intermix communities with above ground power lines. This can lead to dangerous situations.
I mean, imagine if we had the common sense in California. I mean, there isn't really at the leadership level there. I mean, those forests were so poorly managed. Los Angeles became a freaking tinderbox. 30% growth in the wildland urban interface. But nobody's been managing the forests until now. This isn't just about fighting fires or preparing for hurricanes. It's about the fundamental change in how government serves the people. We're talking about reviving the timber industry, creating jobs in rural America, reducing imports, and saving billions in disaster costs. Meanwhile, Congress is working on making these reforms permanent. Industry leaders are pushing for immediate action on tax reform to cement these changes. Listen now, Kent Baucus explaining why time is running out. Watch.
I think now is the time for us just to drive home the significance of getting this tax package across the line, getting this to the president, and putting this behind us. A lot of these tax policies are set to expire at the end of the year, and if we continue to put this on the back burner, then that's where it's going to sit, and the end result's not going to be pretty. There'll be a lot of people that are negatively impacted by that. So I would encourage you to just engage with your elected officials, let them know how the death tax impacts you, how these other expensing measures impact you.
The clock's ticking on tax policies that could make or break the reforms. And that's why Republicans are pushing for the one big, beautiful bill. And Speaker Johnson knows what's at stake. It's not just for disaster management, but for the brave men and women protecting our borders. His plan delivers real support for law enforcement. Watch.
Because, you know, it's those men and women, the federal law enforcement officers, who deserve our support right now. And the one big beautiful bill, by the way, as Leader Scalise noted, delivers much needed reinforcements. In this bill, we have funding to hire a minimum of 10,000 new ICE agents. We're going to provide a $10,000 bonus to Border Patrol and ICE agents on the front lines. We're going to include $45 billion to expand ICE detention capacity and $14.4 billion for air and ground transport to carry out at least 1 million deportations every single year. We'll have to do that for quite some time because they let so many people in. We're starting with the dangerous illegal aliens, and that is exactly who the rioters and the politicians in California are trying to protect, and it's incredible. While Republicans are supporting the men and women of ICE through the One Big Beautiful Bill, Democrats are fighting for those illegal aliens and against law enforcement agents.
It's crazy. 10,000 new ICE agents, bonuses for Border Patrol, and serious detention capacity. This is what backing the blue really means. But Democrats are already mobilizing against these common sense reforms. Leader Thune exposes their true agenda. They want to raise your taxes and keep the border open. Watch.
Mr. President, we're rapidly approaching floor consideration of our reconciliation bill, and Democrats are melting down. I'm pretty sure the Democrat leader was on the floor every day last week, bemoaning the bill and emphasizing how Democrats are going to fight with everything they've got. That's right, Mr. President, with everything they've got. Democrats are going to use every resource at their disposal to fight against extending tax relief for American families. They're going to fight against funding to secure our border. They're going to fight against funding to equip our military. They're going to fight against unleashing American energy. And they're going to fight against all our efforts to make America safer, stronger, and more prosperous. And I guess it's not that surprising, Mr. President. After all, Democrats' previous pledges not to raise taxes on anyone making less than $400,000 a year often felt a little bit grudging. When you're constantly looking to expand government, I guess it makes sense that you'd be more interested in raising taxes than in allowing Americans to keep more of their hard-earned money.
Fighting against tax relief for working families while our cities literally burn. That's the Democrat platform for 2025. Now, the stakes couldn't be clearer. Without the One Big Beautiful Bill, families making $80,000 face a $1,700 tax increase. Thune lays out exactly what Democrats are endorsing. Watch.
And if the Biden border crisis taught us anything, it's that Democrats have essentially no interest in securing our borders at all. And speaking of President Biden, after years of Biden budgets that de-emphasize investing in our military, I guess it's no surprise that filling the gaps in our readiness is not a Democrat priority. Democrat hostility to conventional energy is also well known. And so, again, I guess it's no surprise that Democrats are opposed to unleashing America's energy resources. But it's worth thinking about, in essence, Mr. President, what Democrats are endorsing by fighting against this reconciliation bill. They're endorsing a $2.6 trillion tax hike on Americans making less than $400,000 a year. $2.6 trillion. Without our bill, a typical family of four making $80,000 will be sending an additional $1,700 to Uncle Sam next year. $1,700, Mr. President. Apparently, Democrats are okay with that. Democrats are also implicitly endorsing a continuation of President Biden's tax policies at our border, along with an increasing and increasingly dangerous erosion in our military capabilities.
A $2.6 trillion tax hike on Americans making less than $400,000. Let that sink in. So from wildfire prevention to hurricane response, from timber jobs to tax relief, Trump's cabinet is delivering on every promise. They're cutting red tape, empowering states, putting American workers first. The establishment hates it because it works. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. It's time for my final thought. So here's why this matters. Because your family's safety and your wallet are on the line. Trump's cabinet isn't playing political games with natural disasters. They're implementing solutions that save lives and money. when California burns, when hurricanes hit, when your tax bill comes due, these policies determine whether you thrive or just survive. So the choice is crystal clear. Trump's team prevents disasters and creates jobs, while Democrats let cities burn and raise your taxes. They'd rather import foreign timber than employ American workers. They'd rather centralize power in D.C. than trust your governor to protect you. So here's the question for you. Should governors who refuse to manage their forests be held financially liable for the wildfire damages and not go crying back to D.C. for money? Yes or no? Drop your answer in the comments. And while you're fired up, check out our merch shop in the description and show the world that you stand with real leadership, not political theater. This is about saving America one forest, one job, one tax cut at a time. Okay, you guys said it was Theodore Roosevelt in 1905, and you are correct. Yes, that's the answer. Well done. That is the answer that I considered as well. And let's see. Okay, I'm going to turn off the gesture control here, Brian. Maybe that will do it. I don't know. We'll see. Tracking settings are okay. Okay. All right. I think we're good. General settings. Okay. Perfect. All right. We got that squared away, Brian. I think we won't have a problem anymore. Okay. All right, yes, so you guys said A, Theodore Roosevelt, 1905. Roosevelt used federal authority to establish forest reserves against state opposition, creating the foundation for modern federal land management. All right, so you guys got that right. Perfect. All right, now here's our next question for you. Let's go and see what this is all about. Which American city experienced the costliest riots in U.S. history with over $1 billion in damages? A, Los Angeles in 1992, B, Detroit in 1967, C, Los Angeles in 2020, or D, Chicago in 1968. I'm thinking, ooh, man, I think I'm gonna go with, it's a toss up between A and C for me. I'm going to go A. 1992 Los Angeles riots. I don't know the answer to this, so we're going to find out if I'm right. And if you're right, you guys are also saying A, Los Angeles 92. Okay. Let me see if this message is going to be relevant here. Let me just see if this is going on.
The trumpet. Okay, so they're throwing somebody just threw a bottle at law enforcement. They're throwing bottles at law enforcement. Okay, we're gonna move back. We're gonna move back. We're gonna move back. We're gonna stay at a safe distance. So what you saw there, that was law enforcement protecting themselves. That was the National Guard protecting themselves. They're firing more.
Holy cow, man.
Okay, we're gonna move back. We're gonna trumpet. Okay, so they're already.
Oh my goodness. Okay. They're lying to your face. Right now, Los Angeles is on fire, police are under attack, and violent mobs are terrorizing American cities. But turn on the mainstream media, and what do you hear? Peaceful protests. Democrat politicians gaslighting America while our streets burn. Federal agents being assaulted with chunks of concrete, cars being torched, Marines deploying. But Maxine Waters says there is no violence. But the footage you're about to see is going to shock you. This is not protest, it is insurrection. And the media cover-up is more dangerous than the riots themselves. Because they think you're stupid. They think that you're going to believe their lies over your own eyes. Well, they're wrong. So keep watching. And while LA burns and rioters destroy our cities, your body faces its own destruction from aging. Collagen production declines, causing wrinkles, sagging skin, and weakness, just like our cities deteriorate without law and order. And by age 40, you've lost significant collagen, continuing to decline yearly. But unlike Democrat-run cities that refuse help, you can fight back. Ageless multi-collagen restores what time destroys. 5 collagen types from 4 premium sources, hydrolyzed for easy absorption, no clumping or bad taste. Just mix in with coffee while watching the chaos unfold on the next news network. Unlike the toxic policies destroying LA, this has no GMOs, artificial ingredients, or hormones, just clean collagen support. Visit healthwithgary.com for 51% off. Rebuild your body while Trump rebuilds America. Now, it is all going down right now. And we have breaking news, but I want to set up this entire segment with this. I think this is very important.
Protests.
Because this is the Illinois governor on April 27th, 2025. Listen.
Never before in my life have I called for mass protests, for mobilization, for disruption. But I am now. But I am now. But I am now. Mass protests, for mobilization, for disruption. Mass protests, for mobilization, for disruption.
This violence that I've seen is disgusting. We are overwhelmed as far as the number of people out there engaged in this type of activity and the type of things that they're doing.
For mass protests, for mobilization, for disruption. But I am now.
That's Governor J.B. Pritzker. And right on cue, folks, protests erupting all across America. They're not just about grievances. They're a ticking time bomb. And the fuse is lit by the same forces tearing this country apart. Okay? Mob madness. It's a culture that's lost its spine. You think these riots just happen? No. They are engineered, exploiting the darkest corners of the human psyche, and it's time we expose the truth before our cities burn anymore. It starts with the crowd, folks. People screaming injustice, whipped into a frenzy by woke elites and their media lapdogs. But here's the kicker. Anonymity. Social media's trained them for this, hiding behind fake handles. People spew hate, lies, anything they want to without consequences. That same cowardice spills into the streets. You put on a mask, suddenly you're untouchable, ready to smash windows, torch cars, and spit in the face of law and order. Okay? It's de-individualism, straight out of a psych textbook. Lose your identity, lose your morals. And guess what? COVID made it worse. Mask went from public health to a rioter's best friend, normalized by spineless politicians in big tech. Now every thug's got a free pass to chaos, and they know it. Now the psychology is clear. Frustration plus anonymity equals violence. And when these mobs feel blocked by cops, by reality, they lash out. Egged on by Antifa agitators, foreign influencers who hate our guts. Now, I'm not saying it's all a globalist plot, but you tell me why the same playbook keeps showing up. Look at 2020, BLM riots, $2 billion in damages, and masked looters running wild while the media called it peaceful. Social media is the training ground, teaching them if you're anonymous, you're invincible. And when you've got a culture coddling victimhood, telling kids that they are owed the world, you've got a generation ready to riot at the drop of a hat. Now, from where I stand, this is what happens when you let leftists rot fester. They glorify disorder, defund the police, turn urban jungles into riot factories. And what's the fix? You got to crush the anonymity nonsense. Cops need to rip those masks off and show the faces to the world. Swift arrest, no mercy, teach respect for law and order, not this oppressed garbage. And shut down the social media cesspool pumping this poison. We're in a war for America's soul, folks. These mass mobs, they are not protesters. They are the foot soldiers of chaos. Now, let me show you what's really happening while the media lies. Secretary Noem just dropped some truth about these riots and why Trump is not playing games this time. Watch.
So in 2020, I was a governor of a neighboring state to Tim Walz and watched him let his city burn. And the president and I have talked about this in the past, and he was not going to let that happen to another city and to another community where a bad governor made a bad decision. So Claudia Sheinbaum came out and encouraged more protests in LA, and I condemn her for that. She should not be encouraging violent protests that are going on. If people are allowed to peacefully protest, but the violence that we're seeing is not acceptable, and it's not going to happen in America. This president is standing up for the average American who wants to walk their child to school every day safely, run their small business, and provide for their families. That's the action that he's taken. He has every authority under the Constitution to send these National Guard under Title X into these communities and make sure that operations go smoothly, that law enforcement officers are protected, that they can continue to do their work without fear of being injured or killed or disrespected, and that they can go home to their families at night. So I'm incredibly proud of the president for activating the National Guard and for sending in these Marines, because these Marines are specifically trained to meet the need that we have on the ground in LA right now. And Governor Newsom has done a disservice to the state of California for many years. The people there should never elect him into a leadership position ever again.
That's right. She watched Tim Walz let Minneapolis burn. We all did. Not happening on Trump's watch, though. Mexico's president encouraging even more violence? Yes, that's foreign interference in our domestic security. President Trump himself explained exactly who these rioters are. This is not spontaneous anger. It is organized chaos. Watch.
They were met with very strong force, the bad people, the bad, sick people that do what they do. But these are paid people in many cases, not in all cases, but in many cases. And they really are, they're agitators.
Paid agitators, professional troublemakers. This is what insurrection looks like, and Trump is not afraid to call it what it is. Now, the president laid out the horrific reality of what's actually happening on LA's streets. Watch him now describe the deliberate violence that these protesters are unleashing on our law enforcement. Watch.
I can tell you last night was terrible. The night before that was terrible. We have, as you've seen, it was on most of your networks, people with big, heavy hammers pounding the concrete and pounding curbs, pounding it, breaking up all, and handing these big chunks of concrete to people. And they were taking that concrete, going up on bridges and dropping it into the roof of a car. They were throwing it at our police. They were throwing it at our soldiers that are there. And we got it stopped, and we have them in custody right now. Look, if we didn't get involved, right now, Los Angeles would be burning, just like it was burning a number of months ago with all the houses that were lost. Los Angeles right now would be on fire, and we have it in great shape. We're not playing around.
How will you determine whether or not there is an insurrection?
Well, you'll take a look at what's happening. I mean, I could tell you there were certain areas of Los Angeles that you could have called it an insurrection. It was terrible. But these are paid insurrectionists. These are paid troublemakers. They get money. And when you take a look at what they do, where they show up and everyone's saying, what's he doing? He's pounding the curbs. This one guy's pounding the curb, breaking the curb, and handing big pieces of granite. In some cases, it's granite and concrete to other people. And they're running out with it. And then we watch the other people, and they try and throw it into the face of the soldiers, throw it into the face of the police, and they hurt some people very badly.
Dropping concrete from bridges onto police cars. This is not protest. This is attempted murder. And Trump's response, well, we're not playing around. Now, check this out. I just got this message sent to me from our guest from last night. And take a look at this.
Somebody just threw a bottle at law enforcement. They're throwing bottles at law enforcement. Okay, we're going to move back. We're going to move back. We're going to move back. We're going to stay at a safe distance. So what you saw there, that was law enforcement protecting themselves. That was the National Guard protecting themselves. They're firing more. Okay, so we have the flashbangs going off. We have the flashbangs going off right now. That is because there were several protesters who threw things at the officers.
Christina. We want to make sure you stay safe. It's obviously getting more and more confrontational there. We want to make sure you stay safe, and certainly don't be breathing in that tear gas, which it appears is going to be coming at you in volumes there. Again, this is...
Pull back for now.
Yeah, please do. This is happening live in Los Angeles. Protesters who are angry that Immigrations and Customs Enforcement has been arresting and getting ready to deport people who are in this country illegally, but not just, garden variety illegal immigrants. They are going after the worst of the worst. We're going to show you in a few moments some of the people who have been arrested in this ongoing operation in Los Angeles.
So we're going to continue on because this is where it gets truly insane. While our cities burn, watch as ABC News tries to gaslight America about what's happening. Watch.
In downtown Los Angeles, or just a group that splintered off happened to find 5 cars that they were able to light on fire, and it makes it look like it's a lot worse than the situation actually playing out on the ground.
It's a great point, Jory, because that's the quintessential question when you have rallies, demonstrations, riots, if you will. I wouldn't go far as to call it that. I know President Trump had tweeted about riots and looting. I don't know that I would characterize it that way. But certainly when you have groups like this, from what we've seen, Tommy, pan over here to the left here, it's the vast majority are people taking videos, people waving flags, people walking around, people wanting to be part of the cause, wanting to have their voices heard, and wanting to show the power.
That's what passes for news. Cities burning. Cars on fire. Oh, they're just waving a couple flags. I wouldn't go so far as to call it a riot. Are you kidding me? Cars on fire, police under attack. But sure, let's not hurt anyone's feelings by calling it what it is. The Democrat denial machine is in overdrive. Now, here's a montage of politicians claiming everything's peaceful while cities are literally burning behind them. Watch.
The LA County Police say that they have it under control. Carrying a flag is not illegal, as you know. What did happen in 1992 was so different from what we're seeing now. I mean, that was a real riot.
Video after video has shown that these agents are the ones provoking protesters and also making up, aggression by these protesters that later video shows people were not aggressive.
We are having an administration that's targeting peaceful protests, people that are there to protest. The president is sending the National Guard because he doesn't like the scenes. He doesn't like the scenes of people peacefully protesting.
The unrest is isolated. LA is home to millions of people, most of whom are having a normal day here on Sunday.
You've heard reports that there are riots on the streets of Los Angeles. That is not what's happening across the city of Los Angeles.
Governor Newsom's right. There wasn't anything like a riot happening on Friday, Saturday.
We just witnessed a protester thanking a National Guardsman for his service here in California.
LAPD, by most estimates, had this under control last night.
No, I don't think the National Guard is needed now. Things in LA are calm. There was a protest that got a little unruly late at night.
There have been no violence where anybody that was protesting hit anybody, shot anybody, threatened anybody. Nothing has happened.
What is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn.
Most people are having a normal day, just having fun watching cars burn. No violence where anybody was shot. These people are either delusional or deliberately lying to your face. And of course, the queen of gaslighting herself, Maxine Waters, takes denial to an entirely new level. Just roll tape.
The protests, and even those who were out of step with what we are advocating, peaceful protest, did not create any violence. Nobody was shot. Nobody was killed. Get it in your head. And so when martial law is called, what are you going to say? I missed the point. Don't miss the point, you all. Don't think that somehow, because they called out the National Guard, there was violence. There was no violence.
There was no violence. Tell that to the officers dodging concrete blocks, Maxine. Tell that to the business owners watching their livelihoods burn. at least there's one California sheriff who has the guts to tell the truth. Watch Sheriff Bianco absolutely destroy Governor Newsom's role in enabling this chaos. Watch.
Absolutely appalled that we are at this point in society where people come out and think that this is okay. And then it makes it 100 times worse when you have politicians that are encouraging it, that are not calling it what it is, which is criminal activity. The lying to all of us, lying to the media, and purposely using the word peaceful while maybe they should look at their phones or their TVs, because I have law enforcement officers that are being shot at, that are being injured, that are being hurt, vehicles being damaged, things being burned, and they're calling it peaceful. It is a disgusting display of partisan politics. I wish they would all just put their phones down, be quiet, and let law enforcement handle this how it should be handled, which is the complete enforcement of law and holding criminals accountable. It's rocks, bottles, tools, weapons being thrown at us. You watched multiple vehicles destroyed yesterday by bricks. There are people hauling bricks into the zone and then dropping them off and leaving them there for weapons. And then our deputies and our police officers they're being used against us. And we're being hit with bottles. We're being hit with glass bottles, with tools, with rocks, with bricks. This is not a peaceful protest. It isn't even a protest anymore.
He despises the enforcement of law. Finally, someone in California leadership speaking truth. Newsom didn't just allow the riots, he encouraged them. So this is the reality. Violent mobs attacking federal agents, torching cities and threatening innocent Americans. The media calls it peaceful. Democrats deny it's happening. But Trump is actually putting boots on the ground and ending it. No more summer of love. No more autonomous zones. No more letting cities burn for political points. But it's only spreading. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. It's time for my final thought. My friends, this is about survival. Yours and America's. When politicians and media conspire to hide violent reality, when they sacrifice your safety for their narrative, when they let your cities burn while calling it peaceful, that is not incompetence. It is called betrayal. Every masked rioter, every lying politician, every complicit journalist is choosing chaos over civilization. They want you defenseless. They want you demoralized and dependent. Now, of course, they're going to call Trump's military response overreach. No, it's not overreach. It's overdue. The establishment screams fascism, authoritarianism, dictator. When law and order returns, because disorder is their pathway to power. They need the chaos to justify their control. So here's my question for you. Should media outlets that deliberately misreport riots as peaceful protests, should they lose their broadcast license? Yes or no? You can sound off in the comments below. And if you are as fired up as I am, you can grab some Next News gear from our shop and let them know you see through their lies. It's not about left versus right. It's about truth versus propaganda, order versus anarchy. Okay, so let's take a look at what you guys hear. No super chats to speak of at the moment, so we'll go right to our answer. And you guys said it was A, Los Angeles, 1992. That's what I said. Well done. Los Angeles in 1992, the LA riots caused $1.4 billion in damages, making them the costliest in U.S. history. Okay. Now we're going to get into the Trump versus Newsom phone call. We're going to break that all down for you. But before we do, our multiple choice question. Which California governor was successfully recalled from office for the first time in U.S. history? Ronald Reagan in 1969, Gray Davis in 2003, Jerry Brown in 79, or D, Pete Wilson in 1995? A, B, C, or D? Drop your answer in the poll or in the chat or in the comments section, and we'll get that answer afterwards. I'm going to say Gray Davis, I think, is the answer to that. Gray Davis, that's my guess. Okay. He lied. Governor Gavin Newsom. Take two, Brian. I totally stepped over my face. Try that again. He lied. Governor Gavin Newsom looked California in the eye and lied about President Trump's outreach during the LA riots. But Trump, he kept the receipts. He kept the phone logs, the timestamps, 16 minutes of conversation where Trump told Newsom to get his act together. Now federal agents are being assaulted, cities are burning, and Newsom is playing victim while suing the president. Some are calling for his arrest. The speaker wants him tarred and feathered. And what you're about to see is a governor so desperate to save his political career, he will sacrifice public safety and lie about federal help. This is not just incompetence, it is calculated deception at the highest level, and the evidence is damning. Keep watching, because we're bringing the receipts. And while Newsom destroys California with lies and lawlessness, the next generation needs truth more than ever. And that is where the Tuttle Twins comes in. Freedom is never more than one generation from extinction, and California proves what happens when kids are indoctrinated instead of educated. Now, the Tuttle Twins monthly magazine that I get for my own family, it teaches children real economics, liberty, and personal responsibility through engaging comics, activities, and real-world lessons. No woke propaganda, no government worship, just the principles that built this nation. And while Newsom teaches kids that criminals are victims and laws don't matter, Tuttle Twins teaches them about free markets, individual rights, and why socialism always fails. Pick up a subscription for your child, your niece, your nephew, your grandchild for just $56 a year. You go to TuttleTwins.com/next. It's linked down below. Don't let your children become another California casualty. Arm them with the truth. The battle between Trump and Newsom has now reached a boiling point. First, let's hear what Tom Homan, Trump's border enforcement chief, had to say about calls for Newsom's arrest. Despite Trump's provocative statement, Homan keeps it professional, but pay attention to his careful wording. This now is a law enforcement official who knows exactly where the legal lines are drawn, and his response reveals just how close Gavin Newsom might be to crossing them. Watch.
California specifically, the president told reporters earlier that if he were you, he would have the governor of California arrested. Can you just clarify where that stands and if that is something that you personally are advocating for?
Like I did an interview yesterday with NBC reporter here's a conversation was, as you and I talked about many times, you can protest if you want, you have that First Amendment right, but when you cross the line of putting your hands on an ICE officer, impeding our enforcement operations, knowingly harboring, concealing illegal alien, that's a crime. And I said last night, they can protest all they want, when they cross that line, we'll seek prosecution. And last count, we had just about 50 protesters who've been arrested, criminally being prosecuted for violating the law. And when I reported asked me, would that include politicians like Mayor Bass or Governor Newsom? I said, well, of course. It includes anybody that commits a crime.
But Governor Newsom has not done anything to warrant an arrest in your view right now, correct?
I don't see him. Not at this time, absolutely not.
Did you hear what he said? Not at this time. Those words say everything. The door isn't closed on potential charges. It's just not there yet. But the real bombshell comes from California's own Congressman, Democrat Jimmy Panetta, just delivered one of the most unhinged takes we've ever seen on these riots. He's literally claiming, ready for this, that Trump orchestrated the violence for photo ops. Okay, this is Soviet-level propaganda from an elected U.S. official. Watch him now blame Trump for the riots that started before federal forces even arrived. Okay, The desperation to protect Newsom is now reaching pathological levels. Watch.
Donald Trump does not like California. He doesn't like our policies. He does not like our politics. But you know what? That's okay. Because clearly, based on the election, California does not like the personality, the narcissistic personality of Donald Trump, and we clearly do not like his policies. This is about provocation. It was Donald Trump who sent in the military to a peaceful protest. It was.
Do you see how they're twisting this already? You see? Trump sent in the military to stop a peaceful protest. Do you hear how he's twisting it? Yeah. Cities are burning. Cars on fire. Officers getting stoned in the streets. And Trump? Something doesn't seem to be lining up on the timeline here, sir.
About Donald Trump, who sent in the military to basically stir things up and give him the image and give him the fight and give him the pictures that he wants. And this is about covering up. This is about distraction. It's about distracting from his failed domestic policies. It's about distracting from his failed foreign policies. And it's about distracting from a pathetic row between the President of the United States and the richest man in the world. When it comes...
Oh, really? You think this is all the cover up between that spat between Elon Musk and Trump? Oh, yeah. I got an idea. Yeah, me and Elon trading barbs on Truth Social and X. How about we just redirect everyone's attention to the rioters in Los Angeles, and we'll send in the National Guard and we'll send in the Marines. So everyone can focus on the burning city that started before I even got there and stop reading all the mean tweets. Yeah, sure. That's probably one of the greatest conspiracy theories I've ever heard.
To Californians, we will continue to protest, and we will continue to do it in a peaceful way. And those who don't are going to pay the consequences. Because when it comes to Californians, we support immigrants. And yes, we support the Constitution.
Trump sent in the military to stir things up. This, my friends, is called gaslighting on steroids. The riots were already happening. We have the footage. We presented it to you. President Trump himself explained his decision-making process, and it's a masterclass in leadership versus bureaucratic paralysis. He's done waiting for failed governors to protect American citizens. Now listen to him. His own words. The President of the United States in the Oval Office contrasts his approach now with the restraint he showed in his first term. This time, he's not asking permission to save American cities from burning. Watch.
You have to remember, I've been here before, and I went right by every rule, and I waited for governors to say, send in the National Guard. They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do it, and they just wouldn't do it. It kept going on and on, got worse and worse. And in Minneapolis, that city was burning down 7 days, and I said, I don't care. The governor, who's a governor that just happened to be running for vice president, a total... You talk about an incompetent governor. He's an incompetent person. That he was picked. Well, I was actually very happy he was picked for other reasons. But this guy wouldn't call the National Guard. And we ultimately just sent in the National Guard. We stopped it. But that was after 7 days. And I said to myself, if that stuff happens again, we've got to make faster decisions because they don't want to do it. The radical left, it's usually radical left, and it's usually governors that are Democrat, and they don't want to call them in. They don't want to save lives. They don't want to save property. They don't want to call them in. I don't know what it is. We sent them in, not early. We sent them in late as far as I'm concerned. But big problems, as you know, 3 nights ago, big problems were ensuing. If we didn't send in the National Guard quickly, right now, Los Angeles would be burning to the ground.
No more waiting for governors who won't act. That is what executive leadership looks like when lives are on the line. Now, let's go to Speaker Johnson. he wasn't messing around when he spoke about Newsom's behavior. While he stopped short of calling for arrest, his language was rather explosive. The Speaker of the House just said a sitting governor should be tarred and feathered. Okay? You know what that is, right? That takes us back to the Revolutionary days, right? This is not political theater. This is a constitutional officer accusing a state executive of being an accomplice to assault on federal agents. The implications, staggering. Watch.
The president said, possibly in jest, that if he were Tom Homan, he would arrest Gavin Newsom. Do you believe that Newsom should face consequences in a legal way?
That's not my lane. I'm not going to give you legal analysis on whether Gavin Newsom should be arrested, but he ought to be tarred and feathered. I'll say that. I mean, look, he's standing in the way of the administration and the carrying out of federal law. Right? He is applauding the bad guys and standing in the way of the good guys. He is trying to. He's a participant, an accomplice in our federal law enforcement agents being not just disrespected but assaulted. This is a serious problem, and the governor is now filing a lawsuit against the president. What a joke. Do your job, man. That's what I tell Gavin Newsom. Do your job. Stop working on your rebranding and be a governor. Stand up for the rule of law. He's not doing that. So I don't know what the ultimate measure will be there, but I know that in the interim time, the president of the United States is showing real leadership, and we're not going to allow LA to burn. We've seen this movie before, right? This thing gets out of hand real quickly, especially in a big city like that. And if local and state officials are unwilling or unable to do their job, the president of the United States will do his, and we support that fully.
Do your job, man. When the speaker has to beg a governor to enforce basic law and order, we've crossed into some very dangerous territory. Now, here's where Trump drops the hammer. He reveals his last conversation with Newsom, including exactly what he told California's failed governor. But more importantly, he exposes who these rioters really are and why Newsom's inaction is so dangerous. With the Olympics coming to LA, the stakes could not be higher for America's reputation on the world stage. Watch.
Hey, Mr. President, when is the last time you spoke with Governor Newsom?
A day ago. Called him up to tell him, got to do a better job. He's doing a bad job, causing a lot of death and a lot of potential death. If we didn't send out the National Guard, and last night we gave him a little additional help, you would have, Los Angeles would be burning right now. Los Angeles would be not a lot different than what you saw take place in California and Los Angeles just a little while ago. And, you know, you got to remember, we have the Olympics coming. And we don't want people looking at Los Angeles like it was, like it would have been. It would have been bad. Last night they had total control. If we didn't have the military in there, the National Guard, and then we also sent in some Marines, we had some bad people. We have people, they look in your face and they spit right in your face. They're animals. And these are paid insurrectionists. These are paid troublemakers. They're agitators. They're paid. Do you think somebody walks up to a curb and starts hammering pieces out, has all the equipment necessary, and starts handing it out to people to use as a weapon? These are paid insurrectionists or agitators or troublemakers. You can call it whatever you want. And we ended it, and we have in custody some very bad people. Some very bad people.
Mr. President.
Did you see the guy throwing the rocks at the police cars as they went by and crushing their windows and endangering our police? We're not going to let that happen.
Animals. That's what he called them. Animals who spit in officers' faces. Paid insurrectionists with pre-positioned weapons. This is organized warfare against law enforcement. And Newsom is protecting them. But the most damaging revelation was yet to come. Newsom flat out lied about Trump never calling him. When challenged, Trump didn't just deny it, he brought receipts. Here, watch. Fox News' John Roberts reveal the phone logs that prove Newsom is a bald-faced liar. 16 minutes of conversation where Trump told him to get his ass in gear. The evidence is irrefutable. Watch.
He said the first call to Gavin Newsom was not picked up. The second call Gavin picked up. We spoke for 16 minutes. I told him to essentially, quote, and this is quoting the president, get his ass in gear and stop the riots, which were out of control more than anything else. This shows what a liar he is. Said I never called. So here is the evidence. And here is the call log that the president sent me from his phone. This was June the 7th. Now, granted, this was on Saturday. But look, there's 1:22 o'clock in the morning. Which would have been 10 o'clock at night, 10:22 at night, California time. There was an outgoing call for 4 seconds. And then there was an outgoing call for 16 minutes. So that from the president, which says is proof that he spoke to Gavin Newsom early in the morning, our time, late at night, Friday night, would have been June 6th, I guess, in Los Angeles. So, Governor, over to you for the response. I was going to
say that's next, right? We're waiting to see what if Governor Newsom has a response to the president's. Essentially, what he has there is the receipt for what he says is the call that was made.
It's all about the
long conversation. Yeah, exactly. In a 16-minute conversation. As you mentioned, as things were heating up is the timing of that call, as things were really just beginning to get started. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes.
Dan, as the president.
Trump sending screenshots of the call logs to Fox News. 2 calls, 16 minutes, documented proof. Newsom lied to America about the president's outreach during a public safety crisis. This isn't just about one lying governor. It's about a pattern of Democrat leaders who will sacrifice public safety for political points. Newsom would rather see L.A. burn than admit Trump was right. Okay, he would rather federal agents get assaulted than cooperate with immigration enforcement. He'd rather lie about phone calls than take responsibility for his failures. So the speaker's right. This is about more than incompetence. When you actively obstruct federal law enforcement, when you lie about federal outreach during emergencies, when you choose criminals over citizens, you've crossed from bad governance into something much, much darker. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe, because it's time for my final thought. My friends, this exposes the rot at the heart of Democrat governance. Newsom isn't just a bad governor, he is a danger to public safety. When you lie about federal help during riots, when you protect violent criminals over law-abiding citizens, when you sue the president for enforcing federal law, you are no longer a leader. You are an obstacle to justice. Every California parent whose kid can't walk safely to school, every business owner watching their lives' work burn, every cop dodging concrete blocks, they're all victims of Newsom's narcissistic policies. He cares more about his presidential ambitions than your survival. I showed you the phone logs. They prove it. Trump reached out. Newsom lied about it. So here's my question. Should lying about federal emergency assistance during a riot, should that be a federal crime? You tell me, yes or no. I want to hear. In the comments, down below. Let's talk about it. And grab your next news gear and show you stand with truth over political lies. Wow. Holy cow. Okay, so where are we at now? Okay, we've got, before we get to the answer, we do have Lynn with a lemon character, raising both of the thumbs up. Both of his thumbs up. Thank you for that, Lynn. $3 in the jar. That was about 14 minutes ago. Thank you for your patience. And Miss Thalassophile, Miss E. Thalassophile, $2, asking a question. Do you think California will secede from the USA? Personally, no. I do not think that's going to happen. I do not believe. Okay. Thank you, Brian, for bringing up the clock on our alternate screen. Appreciate that. Great report. So let's get to our answer. The answer was Gray Davis. That's what I thought. You guys got it right. Congratulations. Davis became the second governor in U.S. history to be recalled, replaced by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Remember that? Remember the governor? Holy cow, man. That was one hell of a timeline to be living on. Okay, we're going to jump into Hegseth's military revolution. Of course, the Pentagon purge and President Trump's remarks today. But first, let's get to our next trivia question. Which defense secretary first eliminated race-based policies from military recruitment? Was it A, Robert McNamara in 1963, B, James Mattis in 2017, C, Pete Hegseth in 2025, or Donald Rumsfeld in 2001? Ooh, I don't know. You know, I'm going to have to go with Hegseth. I'm going to say C, because I don't recall this conversation being had in 2017. I wasn't born in 63 and 2001. I wasn't paying attention to the race-based recruitment at the military, at the Pentagon. I was wondering if a plane actually hit it. Okay, so that's a whole different conversation. All right, let's get into our next topic. Everything connects. Trump just stood at Fort Bragg today and declared war on America's enemies, both foreign and domestic, while Pete Hegseth dismantles woke military policies in Congress. The president connects the dots between weak military leadership and burning cities. And so what you're about to witness in this special report is the complete transformation of American power. $30 billion redirected from pronouns to weapons. DEI is dead, merit is back, and recruitment just hit historic highs. Democrats are literally screaming in hearings while Trump promises to jail flag burners and liberate Los Angeles. The same military that Biden weakened with social experiments is now laser focused on one thing alone: winning. This is not reform, it is a revolution. So keep watching. We're going to break it all down. And while Trump and Hegseth rebuild military might, American men are reclaiming their own strength. Now, most guys, they think testosterone loss comes from aging or genetics. Wrong. The real culprit is something you actually eat every day. It's supposedly healthy. Now, this one food scientifically destroys testosterone, and you're probably eating it weekly. It's not junk food, it's not sugar, it's something unexpected that's tanking your motivation and draining your energy. Just like our military needs strength to dominate, you need testosterone to thrive. Sculpt Nation's Test Boost Max uses 8 natural ingredients to restore healthy testosterone without prescriptions or synthetic hormones. Thousands of men are building muscle, burning fat, and getting their edge back. So watch the free video at sculptnation.com/NNN. It's linked below, and discover what's killing your testosterone and take back control today. So the transformation of America's military under Pete Hegseth is sending shockwaves through Washington. We've got a series of clips now, but in this first one, from the budget hearing that happened today, Pete Hegseth delivers the news that's making every woke general panic. He's not mincing words about DEI's death and the return of warrior culture. This is the moment the military-industrial complex realized their social engineering experiment is over. Standards are back, merit matters again, and America's enemies should be terrified. Watch.
First, we're restoring the warrior ethos. President Trump has charged me with focusing on warfighting, lethality, meritocracy, standards, and readiness. That's exactly what we're doing. We're focused on what's important: warfighting and warriors. We're sweeping away distractions and bloated bureaucracy. We've set standards that are high, equal, and unwavering. DEI is dead. We replaced it with a colorblind, gender-neutral, merit-based approach. Our force is responding positively, incredibly, to these changes. And thanks to President Trump, recruiting and retention is higher than it's been in decades at historic numbers.
DEI is dead. Those 3 words just reset American military culture. And look at the recruitment numbers, historic highs under President Trump, because people want to serve under an alpha. But the real story is why recruitment exploded. Hegseth reveals something the media will not tell you. Young Americans were waiting for leadership they could believe in. This is not just a bump in numbers. It's a complete reversal of the recruitment crisis that plagued Biden's woke military. Watch him now explain what he calls the tsunami of support from patriots ready to serve again. Watch.
Thank you for the question about recruiting. What changed is a commander-in-chief that America's young people believe in. President Trump was elected in November, inaugurated in January, and at first I called it the Trump bump. But then it became clear that's not enough. This is a tsunami of support amongst young Americans who want to serve under a president who they know has their back, who will fund them properly, who will not use them unnecessarily, and will make sure they are part of deterrence for the country with a focus, first and foremost, on the homeland, then deterring strengths and making sure our allies step up and carry more of the burden. So you've got a historic surge in the Army, the Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, you name it. Americans are responding because the president says a new spirit. And he's right. And you can feel it in the ranks. You go out to formations, you talk to men and women on the border, they believe in what they're doing in securing that southern border. You talk to them across the world, they're enthused about this new administration and its leadership. So it's President Trump, sir.
It's President Trump, sir. Young Americans want to serve under a president who has their back. That is what real leadership looks like. Inspiring service, not mandating pronouns. Now watch what happens when Democrats realize their military makeover is being demolished. Blue-haired Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro completely loses it during the hearing. Now, this is not normal congressional discourse. This is a woke politician having a mental breakdown because merit is replacing identity politics. Her screaming reveals just how desperate they are to keep their social experiments alive in our armed forces. Watch.
Challenges our department under the previous administration squandered a lot of that.
Please, I want your plan. I've had difficulties with the prior administration, and I don't mind calling them out. What is your plan for the future? Can we get that in writing and on paper so that we know where you're going? Because we don't have anything today. We have zip. Nada, and knowing where you're going. You can talk percentages, you can talk about whatever you want, but unless this committee sees dollars and cents and where you're going and what your plan is, then we may reconsider what you need to do to go forward. Give us the details.
Congresswoman, we have the details and we will provide
Well, then
them
let's
for you.
have them before we, and my hope is that we could get to it before we go to a markup within a few hours here.
It's like watching a Muppet in real life. That's what it looks like, right? We have zip, nada. She's right. They have nothing because woke policies produce nothing but weakness. While Democrats melt down, Hegseth focused on real threats, like China's stranglehold on critical military minerals. Now, this exchange about rare earth minerals reveals how serious Trump's team is about actual defense priorities. While Biden worried about pronouns, China cornered the market on materials essential for our military technology. Now watch Hegseth commit to breaking China's monopoly and bring production back to America. Watch.
And I want to note that China produces the entire world's supply of this obscure rare earth metal that is used almost entirely in military applications because of its its use in heat resistance magnets. So my question is, in accordance with the administration's America First agenda, do you agree that subsidies should first support U.S. companies already investing, hiring, and paying taxes in the United States? And can I have your support in ensuring that the department critical mineral policies will align with this goal?
Ma'am, it's an excellent question. It's something we have been very focused on. In fact, my deputy secretary, it is his number one, is ensuring that sourcing of critical minerals, whether they're heavy or light rare earths, are sourced reliably in America first. Yeah, and if not, then amongst allies. I won't reveal or talk about more than that in a setting like this, because we have reserves and we have capabilities, but at the same time, we have to aggressively work in MP materials, mountain support.
So the answer is yes, I can have your support. Thank you.
America first means controlling our own military supply chain. No more depending on our enemies for critical defense materials. But here's where Trump himself connects military strength to homeland security. At Fort Bragg today, the president made it crystal clear. Our military didn't fight and die overseas to watch America be destroyed from within. Watch him now explain why he deployed Marines to Los Angeles and what it means for America's future. This is a commander-in-chief who understands the connection between military power and domestic order. Watch.
Before going further, I want to say a few words about the situation in Los Angeles, California. Have you heard of the place? Where I've deployed thousands of National Guard troops and hundreds of Marines to protect federal law enforcement from the attacks of a vicious and violent mob. And some of the radical left, they say, oh, that's not nice. Well, if we didn't do it, there wouldn't be a Los Angeles. It'd be burning today, just like their houses were burning a number of months ago. Generations of Army heroes did not shed their blood on distant shores only to watch our country be destroyed by invasion and third world lawlessness here at home, like is happening in California. As Commander-in-Chief, I will not let that happen. It's never going to happen. What you're witnessing in California is a full-blown assault on peace, on public order, and on national sovereignty carried out by rioters bearing foreign flags with the aim of continuing a foreign invasion of our country. We're not going to let that happen.
We're not going to let that happen. When the president connects military sacrifice to homeland defense, every patriot understands the mission. Now, he didn't stop there. He called out the ultimate disrespect, the burning of the American flag. Watch him promise that millions of Americans have been demanding for years. This is not just symbolism. It's about respect for the nation that our military defends. The same people burning flags are the ones attacking ICE agents and supporting invasion. Watch.
But they proudly carry the flags of other countries, but they don't carry the American flag. They only burn it. Did you see a lot of the flags being burned? They weren't being burned by people from our country or from people that love our country. People that burn the American flag should go to jail for 1 year. That's what they should be doing. 1 year. And we'll see if we can get that done. We're going to try and get that done. We're working with some of your senators. I know Senator Josh Hawley is very much involved.
1 year for burning our flag. That's how you restore respect for America and those who defend it. The president painted a devastating picture of what uncontrolled migration has done to Los Angeles, from one of the most beautiful cities in the world to a trash heap controlled by transnational gangs. But watch his promise. It's not permanent. Trump's military and law enforcement are coming to liberate American cities from the chaos that the Democrats have created. Watch.
Within the span of a few decades, Los Angeles has gone from being one of the cleanest, safest, and most beautiful cities on earth to being a trash heap with entire neighborhoods under the control of transnational gangs and criminal networks. It's horrible what's happened so quickly. As the entire world can now see, uncontrolled migration leads to chaos, dysfunction, and disorder. And you know what? They have it in Europe, too. It's happening in many of the countries of Europe. They don't like it when I say it, but I'll say it loudly and clearly. They better do something before it's too late. Very simply, we will liberate Los Angeles and make it free, clean, and safe again. It's happening very quickly.
We will liberate Los Angeles. That's not campaign rhetoric. That is a military objective from the commander-in-chief. And finally, President Trump laid out how the one big beautiful bill funds this whole transformation. Over $1 trillion for defense, full funding for ICE and Border Patrol, plus tax relief for working Americans. Watch him now connect military strength to economic power. No tax on tips, Social Security, or overtime. This, my friends, is comprehensive American renewal. Watch.
The one big, beautiful bill, you've heard about it. We call it the one big, I was on one of the television shows, I think Deface the Nation. Ladies and gentlemen, Deface the Nation. It's actually called Face the Nation for those of you that are smart enough not to know, because you're better off not knowing. But I was on one of the shows, and I said, we got to get a great bill. They said, would you like it to be one bill, or would you like it to be 7 or 8 bills? They said, I want one big, beautiful bill. And the Republican Party liked that statement. They call it one big, beautiful bill. So that's good. And that's what it is. It's great. And it's currently before Congress. It provides all necessary funding for ICE, for Border Patrol, and for the Department of Defense. And I told you, at a level that we've never had before, over $1 trillion. We better get that bill approved. Otherwise, your helicopters and your planes and your equipment's going to start to look a little bit old, General. You better push your favorite congressman. You better push these 2 senators. I think they're in good shape, however. But we got to get it approved. And those congressmen by you are all 100%. I don't even have to talk to them. They've been so great. So I want to sign this into law immediately. And with the signing, so many great things will happen to our country. No tax on tips. Think of that. No tax, seniors, on Social Security. No tax on overtime. They're going to pay for themselves. And if you get a car, and if you borrow money to buy the car, we're going to let you deduct the interest payment if it's a new car made in America. Only if it's made in America. If it's made in Japan or China or any place else, we're not really interested in your deduction.
$1 trillion for defense, billions for border security, and tax relief for patriots. That is how you make America great again. Now, this isn't just about budget numbers or military programs. It's about a fundamental transformation. Hegseth is ending woke policies while Trump is deploying troops to save our cities. The $30 billion redirected from DEI to actual weapon systems, the F-47 fighter, nuclear modernization, the Golden Dome missile shield. While Democrats scream about their social programs being cut, real warriors are finally getting the tools that they need to defend this republic. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe, because I ain't done yet. So, my friends, this is the restoration that America has been waiting for. Trump and Hegseth are not just rebuilding our military, they are saving our civilization. Every screaming Democrat, every cut diversity program, every young patriot joining up proves the same thing. American strength is back. And the president connected the dots perfectly. You can't have a strong nation with a weak military obsessed with pronouns while our cities burn. So, from Fort Bragg to the Pentagon, from LA's streets to China's rare earth monopoly, Trump's team is fighting on every single front. They're making our military lethal abroad and deploying it to save our cities at home. No more apologizing, no more weakness, just American dominance. Now, here's my question. Should military personnel who refuse deployment to protect our border, should they be dishonorably discharged? What do you think about that? Sound off below. And show your support for our warriors. Grab your next news gear and stand with strength. Okay, before we get to the answer, we do have a $5 super chat from Jesus Christ Gospel with Alec Cox. Says, $5 says, libtards are against and will do anything to destroy the USA at any cost in any way. Not Marcus of Queensberry rules. We must defeat the anarchy. $5 for you, sir. Thank you very much. So what was the answer? You guys said it was C, Pete Hegseth in 2025. You are correct. That is what I thought too. Pete Hegseth became the first Secretary of Defense to completely eliminate DEI and restore merit-based standards across all military branches. Okay, we're moving into our next topic. Okay, we're talking about the nationwide unrest. The storm, the Democrat storm is spreading. And Boston, Dallas, Chicago. Okay, but first we're going to get to our multiple choice question. Which president first deployed federal troops to multiple cities simultaneously to quell domestic unrest? A. Abraham Lincoln in 1863. B. Lyndon Johnson in 1968. C. Franklin Roosevelt in 1943. Or D. Ulysses S. Grant in 1871. I actually am related to Ulysses S. Grant. Yes. Okay, I don't know the answer. I'm goodness, man, I don't know. I want to maybe say Lyndon Johnson. Maybe it was Lyndon Johnson in 68, but I'm leaning towards Abraham Lincoln, maybe Civil War. I mean, Ulysses S. Grant. I don't know, man. This is a tough one. I think I'm going to go B. You guys are saying B as well. That was my first instinct. So, okay. My friends, this is only the beginning. While Trump's cabinet saves forests and Hegseth rebuilds our military, a coordinated uprising is spreading across America. Boston, San Francisco, Dallas, Atlanta, Washington, D.C., Chicago, which started in L.A., is now metastasizing into nationwide insurrection. I knew this was going to happen. And you know, these are not spontaneous protests. They are synchronized attacks on federal law enforcement. The pattern unmistakable, and the funding is traceable. The violence is escalating, and it's all connected to the same forces that enabled LA's chaos. Foreign leaders are actually encouraging it. Union bosses organizing it, and Democrat politicians are protecting it. And what you're about to see proves we are not dealing with protests anymore. This is an orchestrated campaign to make America ungovernable. The storm is not coming. It is here. So keep watching. And while violent mobs spread nationwide, smart Americans are protecting their health naturally. Just like these coordinated protests attack our nation's foundation, inflammation attacks your body's foundation, causing joint pain that limits your freedom. Dr. Josh's turmeric breakthrough, it fights back. Now, this is not store-bought turmeric. It's a specific formula that targets inflammation at its source. And thousands are discovering how this ancient remedy, properly formulated, can restore mobility and reduce pain without dangerous prescriptions. As chaos spreads through our streets, take control of what you can. I'm talking about your health. So watch Dr. Josh's free video revealing this natural pain relief. It's a secret. It's at goldenrevive.com/NNN. It is linked down below. So here we go. The nightmare scenario that conservatives warned about, it's unfolding in real time. What started as protests in Los Angeles has now exploded into coordinated violence across America. Let's begin. Let's go to Fox, headquarters, D.C. Protesters targeted conservative media directly. It's not about immigration anymore. It's about silencing anyone who dares report the truth. Now watch as anti-Trump mobs descend on Fox, trying to intimidate one major network that shows what's happening in our streets. Take a look. Look at that. Targeting reporters. That's not protest. That's an attempt to control the narrative through intimidation. Now let's go to Boston, where pre-organized demonstrations at City Hall Plaza and the speed and coordination undeniable. Now, this was planned even before LA started burning. Labor unions and Soros-funded groups mobilized thousands instantly. And they're not just protesting ICE raids. They are building an infrastructure for a sustained rebellion. Watch this massive crowd. And remember, every major American city is a powder keg ready to pop. Watch.
Here's a live look at Boston, Massachusetts now as we check back in on one of our top stories, anti-Trump protests taking place across the country today after a tumultuous week, to say the least, on Wall Street and the economy. We want to point out, just a few minutes ago, we did show you a protest. We said it was Boston. It was not Boston. It was an unrelated protest. But what you are looking at right now is Boston, and I'm from there. I can recognize this. This is the plaza right outside of City Hall.
Look at the numbers of people out there. Pre-organized labor and civil rights groups. This is astroturfed insurrection dressed up as grassroots anger. San Francisco joining the chaos with hundreds attacking a federal building. The reporter on the scene captures the moment this peaceful protest turned violent. And notice how quickly they shift from chanting to vandalism. Almost like they were waiting for a signal. It's the same pattern we saw in 2020, gather, agitate, attack, but this time they're specifically targeting federal immigration enforcement. Watch.
Raids on undocumented immigrants. They are also out here to demonstrate their First Amendment rights to free speech, the ability to assemble. Earlier, I spoke with a man who arrived here as early as 10 in the morning to make his voice heard.
We have a very clear First Amendment right to protest. Similarly, we have undocumented people. You know, it's very clearly established in Supreme Court case law that undocumented people, that any human in the United States has Fourth and 14th Amendment rights to due process.
I wonder how much that guy was paid.
So again, a fairly peaceful protest until just a few minutes ago. Within the last few seconds, we've sort of seen any sort of defacement of this building stop. We're certainly keeping a close eye on this. Unclear right now whether these protesters plan to stay here or perhaps relocate, march through the city, similar to what we saw take place in LA. Back to you.
And Zach, are you expecting this crowd to grow even more?
You know, I haven't really been given any indication of who's really in charge here. So unclear whether they're expecting more people to come down. Most people started to assemble around 6 o'clock. It grew pretty quickly after that. I would say, at least several hundred people here right now.
It's unclear who's in charge. Several hundred people. That's by design. Decentralized violence is harder to stop and easier to deny. Now take a look at this. Did you see this? Culture War Report posted this. Bionic face shields. A truck loaded with bionic shield masks rolled up to a demonstration in downtown Los Angeles, handing them out to rioters. The high-tech masks run for $40 to $60 each online, so who is bankrolling this? You don't buy these in bulk unless you're planning something big. These masks are not your average gear. They are marketed for extreme environments, dust, smoke, even chemical exposure, perfect for a riot. You don't gear up like this for a peaceful protest. It screams coordinated chaos.
Describe where it just feels like something's going to happen and you're waiting for it to happen. And you can look around, you see the National Guard in front of the federal building, but as far as this intersection where we're seeing all this take place, there's no local police to be seen. Yeah. And we have people handing out masks and gas masks, and we just saw people graffitiing the sidewalk right in front of this truck, and we've seen people doing burnouts in the street. There's no local law enforcement around.
Let us clarify, because we've been showing a wide shot and from a different angle, a whole lot of officers on the other side of the federal building almost behind you, and perhaps the visual is obstructed from your point of view. But I can tell you there are many, many, many LAPD cars and officers there that have staged. They are blocking that freeway overpass, so protesters can't get on that overpass like they did yesterday and throw bricks or concrete or scooters down on law enforcement that was below that had cleared the 101 freeway. So perhaps they're not where you are, but there's a lot of them already positioned there. They're not getting caught off guard by a crowd gathered here.
Now that's a shot of the driver of the vehicle where those masks were being distributed from.
So, I mean, that was quite a shot that we have there of these folks, and your photographer just gave us a great shot of the box that was left behind, which showed the brand of mask. I mean, it's not the kind of thing, thank you for seeing this there. It looks like a bionic shield is what that's called. I mean, that's not the kind of thing that you buy in bulk if you don't plan on doing something with it. And the fact that that's being handed out kind of like candy to everybody gives you an indication that these folks probably plan to be here for a while.
Describe where it just...
I mean, does this not reek of complete premeditation? Let's go to Atlanta. The rally there revealed the interstate coordination. Protesters explicitly declared solidarity with L.A. while threatening ICE facilities across the South. The organizers aren't hiding their agenda anymore. This is about creating a nationwide network of resistance to federal law. Watch how they invoke California as inspiration for attacking immigration enforcement everywhere. The contagion is spreading exactly as planned. Watch.
Patrick, what was the temperature like?
Carly, it's a good question. It was overall very calm. There were no arrests made today. Very different from what we're seeing in Los Angeles over the weekend. And protesters, they were right here and right across the street over my shoulder. Those are the field offices for Atlanta's ICE division. And while this rally has wrapped up, demonstrators today said they're not done speaking out.
Abolish ICE now! Abolish ICE now!
Outside ICE field offices in Atlanta, a rally condemning the recent arrests of immigrants across metro Atlanta and nationwide.
We're a nation of immigrants, and everybody deserves to be treated with respect and get their constitutional rights.
The only way we're going to get change, the only way we're going to get answers, the only way we're going to see a difference is to unite as one.
Many also voicing outrage after the violence in L.A. over the weekend, where California union leader David Huerta was arrested over allegations of interfering with an officer during an ICE raid.
What happened in California can happen anywhere.
This rally is one of at least 15 similar rallies across the country, including in New York, Washington, D.C., Charlotte, and Chicago.
What happened in California can happen anywhere. Okay, that's not a warning. It's an actual threat. And they're making good on it. Take a look at this. Here we have Chicago. Welcome to Chicago. Look at that law enforcement presence in Chicago. But we've got more. We have more from Chicago. Let's take a look at this. Here's more. Riots have erupted in Chicago as the spread of anti-ICE protests has led to this situation.
All right, things are getting really heated in Chicago. They're taking somebody away. So just minutes ago in LA, protesters went on the 101 freeway, and then police made them get off, and now this is going on in Chicago.
I think we have some more from Chicago. Checking. Let's see what else we have here. Look at this. Holy cow.
Shame on you! 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 Shame on you!
Now let's go to Dallas, descending into pure anarchy. The chants of FDPD while blocking traffic show this has nothing to do with immigration and everything to do with destroying law and order. These are not concerned citizens, okay? These aren't mom and pops out there worried about losing their status as a citizen. No, these are anarchists using immigration as a cover for their real agenda, making America's cities ungovernable, just like Governor Pritzker of Illinois ordered. Watch police now try to maintain order while being vastly outnumbered. Watch. Now, here's what I want to do. I want to bring up this clip. This is, and I'm going to play it again. I'm going to play it over and over and over and over again until everyone in this country understands where the marching orders are coming from.
Never before in my life.
This is Governor Pritzker, April 27th, 2025.
Never before in my life have I called for mass protests, for mobilization, for disruption. But I am now. But I am now. But I am now. Mass protests, for mobilization, for disruption. Mass protests, for mobilization, for disruption.
This violence that I've seen is disgusting. We are overwhelmed as far as the number of people out there engaged in this type of activity and the type of things that they're doing.
For mass protests, for mobilization, for disruption. But I am now.
There it is. April 27th, 2025. That is the rhetoric that has come down. Todd, see if you can find that clip of when I want to hear Stephen Miller. I need to hear what he said to me at the White House. I need to bring that clip up. I need to look at that again. But as we're looking for this next clip, okay, you saw cursing at police, blocking bridges, creating chaos. This is the blueprint for urban warfare, not civil protests. But Dallas delivered the most telling footage. Watch how quickly authorities move from monitoring to mass arrests when protesters cross the line. This is the choice every city faces. Enforce the law or surrender to the mob. And the federal response is forcing local authorities to pick a side. And some are finally choosing order over appeasement. Watch.
Down from any of these cases. In fact, Homeland Security Secretary tonight on Fox saying they're going to arrest and charge protesters who are assaulting officers. So this is happening in real time, and it is the clash also, Caitlin, of immigration and law and order, two of the main issues of President Trump, all coalescing in this moment as people protest the methods of this administration.
And I also want to show what's happening in Austin. This is what's happening in Dallas. We also have similar scenes that are playing out, protests that are underway in Austin right now. Elliot, when you look at what's happening in Dallas there, I want to go back to that image that we were just showing. Obviously, things seem to be heating up there as you're looking at this scene right now in Dallas where they are clashing with the officers. a lot of people are looking at this, and what I asked to Tom Homan was, is this going to be the new normal going forward in terms of more National Guard being deployed to other cities as well?
Well, and it all depends, quite frankly, Caitlin, on what happens with the legal challenges to this implementation of the National Guard. Now, look, there are circumstances where the president can federalize National Guard. Now, there are obviously...
Okay, swift arrest, violence escalates. That's what should have happened in every city from day one. Now, I'm going to go back. I found the clip. Stephen Miller, this is when I was at the White House, and he is reacting to Governor Pritzker's remarks. Let's listen very closely to what Stephen Miller says here. Now, remember, this is April 28th, one day after Pritzker said those remarks.
Stephen, remember when Governor Pritzker just called for mass protests and disruption, saying Republicans cannot know peace, while Trump's border crossings are down 95% and ICE is locking up 800 criminals? Is Pritzker inciting insurrection, and will DOJ take action?
Well, what I would say is that his comments, if nothing else, clearly could be construed as inciting violence. So President Trump survived 2 assassination attempts against his life. Of course, there's been many more credible threats against President Trump and his family and associates. We've, of course, seen the spate of left-wing domestic terrorism all across this country. By the way, the destruction of property sits directly adjacent to attacks on humans and physical attacks. In other words, once you tolerate and once you allow for attacks on property, you're just a step away from people throwing Molotov cocktails into people's homes. And you've even seen some, I think one example of a formerly prominent Washington Post journalist who seemed to be celebrating the murder of a healthcare CEO, right? Health insurance CEO. And that's the point we've reached in this country, where people are engaging in rhetoric and behavior that puts the lives of public servants in danger, puts the lives of conservative Americans in danger. And so that's the first thing I would say. And then, of course, secondly, right, just this war that Democrat governors and mayors are waging against federal law enforcement. I mean, this is nullificationist behavior. This is secessionist behavior, where they're saying they don't recognize the supremacy of federal law enforcement in terms of protecting the lives and livelihoods of American citizens against a foreign invasion. We've never seen anything like it. And of course, the result of their conduct is that they're allowing illegal aliens to go free and rape and murder their own citizens. So I can't imagine having a leader in a city or a state that would privilege the well-being of illegal alien murderers over their own citizens, but that's where we are right now.
That's where we are right now. April 28th of this year, I asked Stephen Miller that question on White House grounds. Less than 24 hours after Pritzker gave the marching orders to mobilize and disrupt. And here we are, cities in flames, exactly as Stephen Miller laid it out. The pattern is crystal clear. Simultaneous eruptions in major cities, identical tactics, coordinated messaging. This is not organic outrage, it is revolutionary warfare. The same organizations, the same funding networks, the same playbook back from 2020. But here's what's different. Trump isn't waiting for governors to act this time. The National Guard and Marines stand at the ready. So think about what we are witnessing right now in this period of time, in this moment in history. While Trump's cabinet works to prevent disasters, create jobs, Hegseth rebuilding our military, ICE removing criminal aliens, the left is mobilizing their street armies. Why? Because they can't win elections anymore. So they're trying to make the country ungovernable. Blame Trump. It's all Trump's fault. Your cities are burning because it's Trump's fault. He's bringing in the National Guard. It's Trump's fault. But they don't go back to the very organizers on the ground in every single city. They never question who's behind those people putting up those flyers and getting those tens of thousands of people into the streets. They never ask that question, do they? They just point the finger to the top. And the media runs lockstep, gaslighting you. Remember, every arrested rioter, every burned car, every attacked officer is all part of their plan to exhaust our law enforcement and demoralize our citizens so that they can blame Trump. Foreign interference is confirmed. Mexico's president openly encouraging these riots? Union leaders organizing them? Democrat politicians excusing them? Tech platforms amplifying them? This is way bigger than immigration. This is about whether America remains a nation of laws or descends into orchestrated chaos. The geography, though, tells the story. Blue cities in blue states erupting simultaneously because the infrastructure's baked in. But notice what's not happening. Red states aren't burning. Conservative cities aren't rioting. The violence is exclusive to Democrat-controlled areas where prosecutors won't prosecute. And politicians protect criminals. It is not coincidence. It's policy driven by dark Soros money. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe because I'm not done yet. Now, America, it is time to wake the F up. This is not ending. It's only escalating. Every city that coddles these mobs invites more violence. Every politician who calls this peaceful enables the very next attack. Every prosecutor who drops charges guarantees it gets worse. They're testing our resolve. They're probing for weaknesses and building networks for sustained insurgency. The left lost the election. They lost the culture. They lost the argument. So now they're trying to win through chaos. They want you scared. They want you exhausted. And they want you ready to surrender just for peace. Do not give them that victory. This is our 1968 moment. But we have something that they didn't. A president who won't blink. So here's the question. Will your local leaders stand with law and order? Or will they kneel to the mob? And here's another question. Should organizing violent riots across state lines be charged as domestic terrorism? Simple yes or no. Drop it down below in the comments. And remember to arm yourself with the truth. Support our work here. Go to shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Okay, before we get to our answer in our trivia question, Studio, $2. Peace through strength and power. Thank you. $2 for that. Where's my $2? Here you go. Thank you. Wild Man, dropping $2 in the jar. $2 in the jar. Thank you for the live, brother. And Mary B. Crabtree dropping $20. We are so thankful for our president. $20 right here in the Alex Jones was right jar. Okay, getting to our answer for the trivia. Yes, it was Lyndon Johnson. You guys, said Abraham Lincoln. Damn. Guys, you were off to the right track at the beginning of the poll. I saw it. You said Lyndon Johnson. I'm like, it's Lyndon Johnson, and that's the only one I can think of. I was leaning towards Abraham Lincoln. That's where you guys went at 43%, but it was Lyndon Johnson. In 1968, LBJ deployed federal troops to Washington, D.C., Chicago, and Baltimore simultaneously during widespread riots following MLK's assassination. There you go. You guys, I think you guys did pretty good tonight, though. I think this is the only one you got wrong. Well done. Well done. Okay, we're going to check in and see what else is happening right now. How about that, though? How about that? Stephen Miller, every time I see this, I'm like, boom. Okay, what do we got here? This is from Mr. Reagan. Just posted this. Finally, LA is taking some action. A little late, Karen. LA City curfew in place from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. for downtown LA between the 110 to West I-5, East I-10, South I-5, and 110 to North. Yeah, a little late for that one, Karen. And I just saw we have another super chat from Allison Carr, who says, strength through peace. Amen. Peace is the answer. Peace is the answer. Okay, what else is going on here? What's this? Widespread riots erupting across the U.S., plunging major cities into chaos. New York, Los Angeles, Dallas, San Francisco, and Chicago. Here's Atlanta, Georgia. Good God.
Hold on. Stop.
Over there. Hammering it. Holy shit.
Yep, it's happening everywhere. Mila Joy, what is this? Breaking news. Of course, you know it's coming. This guy was paid to take part of the LA riots. He gives the details. Nothing Democrats do is ever organic. What is this?
On my side of the story. So my brother, I was tricked into being an active participant in this peaceful protest, aka race riots that are going on in Los Angeles. And I know.
Okay, now, right out the gate, I'm already not believing this guy. I know this is a real narrative, but you're going to go make a TikTok? No, I don't think so, dude. I think you're just trying to get some rage bait here. How long is this? This is 1 minute and 30 seconds. Should we give it to him? Okay, let's hear him out. But I'm not buying this right at face value.
I'm going to get in trouble because talking about it is against the contract I signed, which should have been the first red flag, but I got to tell my side of the story. So my brother's lived in Los Angeles for the past 3 years, and I was down there for about a week visiting. Well, around night 5 or 6, he told me that he's going to go do something tomorrow and he's going to make some money. So I'm like, well, what do you got to do? I want to make some money too. So he's like, yeah, bro, you can come with me. And I don't know all the details about what we're going to be doing yet, but I'm getting paid $150 a day to essentially protest something in a peaceful manner that is protected by the Constitution. I said, bet, I'm coming. So morning time rolls around, we get ready and we go. We pull up to the address. Now the address is like a warehouse. I'm like, whoa, bro, I did not sign up to work a factory job. He goes, I promise, this is not that. Just come inside. So as soon as you enter the doors of this place, you are now in a line. And at the end of the line, there's a desk. And there's a piece of paper and a pen and a guy standing at this desk. And I'm noticing, I'm peeking ahead in line. And I'm noticing that he's having guys sign things. And then he's handing them an envelope. I said, great, that must be the money. So after I signed the papers and I grabbed the envelope, I now entered into the next dimension of the warehouse. Now, the next dimension of the warehouse, it looked like preparation for a peaceful protest. I mean, there's sunscreen, there's water bottles. But if you do a little further inspection, you realize that this is going to be anything but peaceful. So I look a little further, past the water, past the sunscreen, and I see something that resembles rudimentary explosive making. And, I nudge my brother, I'm like, bro, look at this. He goes, oh, chill, don't worry about that. Come on. So then we head to the back door where everyone was exiting out of. And now they're handing everybody a Mexican flag as they exit this building. I grab it, I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, I'm a Republican, but I definitely can't tell them that now. Like, I'm committed to the bit. And after that, the rest is history. You've seen what happened all over the news. I'm just glad I made it out okay. I was tricked into being an active participant in this peaceful protest, aka race
so
riots
this
that are going on in Los
TikTok
Angeles.
person's name is Draco Big 30. Draco Big 30. I don't know. Are you guys buying this? Are you? Let's see. Do we have here Slim feed and chat? Does this one work? Let's see if I can see your comments in real time here. I think yes. Okay. So I'm going to open up TikTok and I'm going to check this guy out real quick and see if he's for real. Let's see. This is Draco, D-R-A-C-O. Draco Big 30. Okay, 65,000 followers. Fake Protester 2, Super Bowl 59. Kelsey, iHood, Diddy Party, Gambling Addict, Barbecue, Beast Bites, Fake Job, Fraud Royale, Bus Driver, Invisible Ink, Bad Tattoos. I don't know. AirPods Scandal, String Method. Yeah, this guy. Okay. Okay, so right at the top of his profile, I don't think I have TikTok on this device. Let me see. You'll see exactly what I'm seeing here. Do I have? I do. Okay, hang on. Let's see. It starts on TikTok. No. Can we just go? No. I don't want to do that. Just cancel. Show me TikTok. Skip. No. Let me try a different way. TikTok. And the name is, you're going to see right here, Draco, D-R-A-C-O, Big 30. Draco Big 30, open. Damn it! Okay, well here, this is the search. This is what shows up. I don't want to log in on this device, but right there, it says right there, satire comedy, right there. And his entire profile is full of these types of bits. Oh, man. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and I am going to do this. Wait, hang on. I'm going to screenshot and I'm going to go ahead and do this. Boom. Boom. Satire comedy. Download. We're going to go to our X profile and we're going to reply with this. Here we go. It's satire. And boom. Send now. Good God. This makes it even harder for us to try to break down these truths. When you got freaking guys like this, and this woman spreading Mila Loves Joe, which I'm sure I do follow her. No, I don't follow her. Follow me for breaking news. Wife, mom, politically conservative, MAGA, Trump 2025 and beyond. I don't follow her. She just showed up in my feed somehow. Somebody retweeted her, I guess. That's how it happened. I don't know. How did it get in my feed? No idea. It's in my For You. But it's the same thing. Like, this is how this stuff spreads. And people are like, look, I saw a guy on TikTok, man. But right off the bat, I felt it. I felt it in my gut. I was right. Wild Man. Time for Trump to move. Strength for Peace. Aaron Worley. Time for Trump to move in. All other options almost depleted. Aaron Worley. $5 there. Here's Aaron Worley. $5. Thank you, sir. Wild Man. $2. He says, I meme, therefore I am. Posted a clip from Federal Plaza I'm not sure what that clip looks like yet. Did I use all my singles today? Did you guys use all my singles? Okay, I guess we got to break open another single. Okay, so there we are. $2 from Wildman. I meme, therefore I am. Let's see what I meme. Oop. I meme. Let's see what's going on there. Oh, damn. Okay, for those asking, this is Federal Plaza in Chicago.
I gotta focus. I'm so close.
Was from I meme, therefore I am. Thank you for that, Wildman. Appreciate it. Salt and Light dropping 14 Canadian. Thank you, sir. I'm a Canadian that wants to be the 51st state. I hope Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and all the NGOs associated with these organizations are deemed domestic terrorists and given long jail times. I agree. Unreal. Okay. All right, folks, I got to run. I love you guys. Thank you for watching tonight. So, what a show we have witnessed tonight. It's not just news. This is literally the battle for America's soul, and it's playing out in real time. From Trump's cabinet revolutionizing disaster response to our military's complete transformation, we are seeing what America First really means. And what we showed you in the opener. Leaders who prevent disasters instead of profiting from them are what we should look up to. Real forest management, state empowerment, job creation. This is governance by adults who understand that every tax dollar matters and every American life is precious. No more watching forests burn while importing foreign timber. No more federal bureaucrats deciding how states respond to hurricanes. Our second topic of the evening, ripped the mask off the media's biggest lie. While LA burned and officers dodged concrete blocks, they called it peaceful. We showed you the receipts, the violence, the paid agitators, the deliberate attacks on law enforcement. Maxine Waters claiming no violence while cars are being torched. The mainstream media isn't just wrong, they are complicit in the chaos. Our third segment, we expose the governor so corrupt by ambition he will lie about presidential phone calls during a crisis. And he got caught red-handed. Trump showed the phone logs and everything. 16 minutes of Trump telling him to get his act together and then lying about it to America. When you're more interested in lawsuits than law enforcement, you are not a leader, you are a liability. Our fourth segment delivered the total package. Trump at Fort Bragg declaring war on America's enemies while Hegseth demolishes woke military policies. DEI is dead, replaced by merit. $30 billion redirected from social experiments to actual weapons. The president connected it all. Flag burners going to jail. LA being liberated. Our military focused on winning again. This is comprehensive American restoration. Our Boyd dropping $5 saying, stay safe, Gary. Chi-Town's about to burn, but so is Charlotte, which is 30 minutes from me. Be safe, you too, Our Boyd. Thank you for that. I'm far enough away from the city, but I've got to go into the city on Friday. I've got to get my passport squared away for my NATO trip. And then topic 5, we wrapped it all together. The nationwide eruption is not random. It is orchestrated from Boston to Dallas, San Francisco to Chicago to Atlanta. The same playbook, the same funding, the same goal. Make America ungovernable because they can't win elections anymore. And then blame it all on Trump. But Trump is not playing defense. National Guard deployed, Marines at the ready, federal law enforcement unleashed. So to everybody who sent in super chats tonight, we just hit $100. Thank you very much. You guys are the backbone of the independent media. It's your support in this jar that keeps us on air when big tech tries to silence us. Special shout out. Salt and Light, R. Boyd, Wildman, Aaron Worley, Allison Carr, Mary Crabtree, Sue Studio, everybody. You guys are there putting your money where your mouth is, and it's your messages that fuel this fight for truth. Remember to tell a friend about the Raw Feed. Text them the link. Share it on social. Break through the algorithms. And if you want to wear your values, hit our merch shop. Every purchase is a statement that you won't be silenced. Remember, this is bigger than just one show or 1 week. We are documenting history as it happens, and you are a part of it. The establishment wants you demoralized. But folks, we're just getting started. It's week 20. We have more to go. Thank you for joining the Raw Feed. Keep fighting, keep watching, and we will see you next time. The truth will not be silenced.